Buenos dias, Gunners Collective TV. Back at it, you already know. Like a torta with a bad habit. Bye up, bye up. Intro time. Welcome back. And if you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, make sure that you go ahead and do that. Put your notification bell on all so that way you're directed in the direction of the dope content that I am kicking. And I appreciate the support. Thank you, man. I'm very humbled by it. So the deeper it gets, the more shit there is to step into, right? Manny, Sincity Manny, the alleged, well, it's not even really alleged. The motherfucker did it on camera, right? The shooter, on the strip is now facing the death penalty or can face the death penalty. I don't want to say it's in concrete, in stone yet. It's not etched, but hey, you don't need to etch your sketch to figure this one out, and I thought this was probably going to be the situation. Now, I wasn't too sure on the laws, the proper procedures of Nevada. I wasn't sure if they still had the death penalty. I know a lot of states have stopped utilizing it. I know states like Florida and Texas will use it to the end, till Jesus comes, right? They're not playing. But I know California is flim-flam when it comes to reinstating the death penalty, stopping, reinstating. It all depends on the governor. It all depends on what Congress wants to do in any particular situation. It depends on the administration. Now, in this situation, Nevada does have a death penalty. And because because Manny has been charged with 2 open murders, basically he did it in front of everyone, openly. He kicked the door down. He came out the closet and did it, right? And it's no laughing matter, and I'm not trying to joke about it, but I'm just being real. This man is now sitting down with his life on the line. Now, there's a lot of people that are for the death penalty. There's a lot of people that are against it. I happen to be someone who's against it. I do believe in eye for an eye. But at the end of the day, I believe it should be handled by the people who seek retribution, by the people who seek revenge, by the people who seek, it should be hands-on. It should be that person's family or that person gets their get backs. I don't believe the law should take the law into their own hands because I believe it's murder just like that, just like what he did. But anyways, with no justification, Manny will probably more than likely catch a capital punishment case. It'll probably be death penalty. Now, not 1, but 2. There's 2 murders. Okay. So there's going to be a lot to prove here, and I'm going to break it down a few things that I think Manny has in his favor and a lot that he doesn't. The first thing that's a strike against Manny is he did this, and it's on camera in front of everybody. There was a lot of people on that strip. There's a lot of witnesses. I'm sure there's a lot of footage that we haven't even seen because everybody, and I mean everybody, records. There's someone that's going to pop up with the video that probably has it in HD, okay? As you can see, Finney's video was a little grainy. You could see it go down and you could see the shots being fired. But again, you see Finney off camera. So that leads to interpretation. That leads to what did Finney actually do to provoke it? Now, we know by just studying the case and what we know so far about the backstory that Finney did not have a weapon on him. So the what do you call it? Stand your ground or the self-defense case that Manny is trying to build pretty much is blown out the water. You can't do a video looking for a man saying you're going to pop him when you see him at a red light and then literally do it the next day and expect it to be looked at as self-defense. Now, again, you do see Manny walking by in the video. He is walking by, and then next thing you know, Bubbly, which is the other victim, Finney, the legend's wife, comes into the frame and she's arguing with Manny, and you can distinctly hear her telling him, don't come over here with that bullshit, meaning we don't want no problem. Don't come over here starting no trouble. And then he just literally pulls out the gun and gets to shooting. You can hear Finney in the background say, what's up, cuz? Basically posturing up, what's up? Let's get it, right? Now, that could be interpreted a whole bunch of different ways. It could be a challenging stance, but he definitely wasn't close enough to do harm to him. Damage to him. There were people like, oh, maybe Finney had a gun. He didn't. When his body was found, there was no weapon on him. So you can kill that noise, right? So why does it become a death penalty case? Because of the manner it was done in. Bubbly was shot in the back of the head, unfortunately. So that becomes execution style. You know, she was trying to get away, basically, and he had no remorse. So it's going to be looked at from a lot of different angles. As far as the self-defense case, I don't think Manny has one whatsoever at all. I think you have to be dumb to even believe he does have one. I got friends that are lawyers, and they're like, we wouldn't take that case. That's not a winning case. Most lawyers strive for a winning case. That's not it. This man is seen on camera executing 2 people. Again, you don't literally see the shots. You see the shots being fired. You see the man who has the gun in his hand, but you don't see the bodies fall. Now, there are pictures, still pictures and videos of Bubbly on the ground and them administering CPR or life-saving measures for Finney, but they died. Okay, so now what you have is a judge that's going to look at all the evidence and a district attorney that's going to look at all the evidence, and they're going to realize they got a pretty much an open and shut case, but does it warrant the death penalty? Now, those are very expensive trials. You know, usually when the death penalty is on the line, more than likely the individual that's being charged usually takes a deal. And ultimately, I think that's what's going to happen with Manny. I think in the beginning phases, he will get a lawyer or someone's going to pop up out of the bushes that wants some of the clout from this case because it's a very big case. It's made national news, whatever. And they're going to decide to represent him, or he's going to come up with money. But according to what people are saying, Manny didn't have money like that. You know, maybe he has friends or family or supporters that are willing to put something together for him and get him money. But it's a very expensive case. And lawyers are very expensive. You know, I just went through a family law case that cost me over $20,000 that only lasted a few months. And that was just in the few months. So I could only imagine what a death penalty case would cost with a private lawyer. You know, Manny was given 3 weeks from a judge yesterday to obtain a private lawyer. Will he or won't he? That's the question. Does he have the funds to make that happen? One never knows, does one? But what we do know for sure is, as of right now, he's being charged with 2 counts of murder 1. Now, if they do decide to charge him with the death penalty and he does take it to the box, I believe he will be found guilty. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be given, going to be sentenced to death. But in this case, because of the notoriety and because it's getting national news and because it was something only an idiot would do, right? It was so clownish that I believe that he can quite possibly be convicted and given the death penalty phase. You know, especially more so towards Bubbly, because in the manner it was done, she turned away from him. Now, Finney was facing him when he was shot. I don't know. We don't get to see in the camera if Finney turned and tried to get away. But from what it looked like, it happened so fast, Finney was facing him. Now, we do know that Bubbly wasn't. Will he get the death penalty is the question. Why is it on the table? Well, in most cases, the death penalty is usually on the table when it's a very, very big case, something with aggravating case factors. And of course, if there's ever law enforcement involved, you kill a cop, of course, that's what you're facing, man. And it's weird that they pick and choose how they want to do it, but I don't know what the criterion is exactly, what makes it a death penalty case rather than just a murder 1, facing life without the possibility. I believe, though, truly that Manny will probably take life without. I believe that he will, when faced with death, I don't think he has it in him to go all the way. That's just my perspective, just looking at the man and seeing the difference in attitude and posture and how he was when he was walking arrogant with his chest out on that strip with the gun in his hand compared to when they were arraigning him in court. He looked disheveled. He looked confused. He looked sad, remorseful, I can't say, but he definitely was sad of the situation he was in. You know, everybody's brave, everyone's hard, everyone's cool until you get them cuffs snapped on you. Then the realization hits. I'm sure it's now day 3, day 4 since this incident happened that the realization has hit Manny, and now it's starting to get real. It's starting to get tricky. It's starting to get sticky. It's starting to get sparkly, right? What it's starting to get for this individual is he's now realizing, that's it. Was this truly worth it? Was everything he did and the measures that he took worth it? Now, of course, you got the devil and you got the angel on your shoulder. And the devil's saying, yeah, heck yeah, they were talking shit about you. Fuck them, this, that. But then you got the angel saying, think of everything you've lost. Think of everything you've sacrificed and given up because of your pride. Now, the judge doesn't care about his pride. The judge doesn't care about, and neither does the district attorney. They care about a case and holding this person accountable and bringing justice to the surviving family members. That's what they believe. If he is charged with the death penalty, I believe he'll take a deal. Like I said, I don't think he's stupid enough to try to take this one to the box, because this is an open and shut case, man. I don't see whatsoever, and you can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, I don't see Manny being able to justify what he did, especially with all the video evidence that he has against him. He definitely didn't make power moves wearing shower shoes. This guy made dumb decisions and a stupid move wearing Crocs. Ultimately, he is liable for what he did. And if he was given the death penalty, I don't think a lot of people are going to care. I think his family will care. I think his lady will care, however long she sticks with him, if she isn't charged, right, for as being an accomplice, because she definitely was walking beside him. Whether she knew or didn't know what was going to happen, again, that's up for interpretation, right? One will never know, will they? But what we do know is what we could see. And the human mind thinks like this, revenge. This literally was a revenge case. Manny was retaliating for everything that Finney said, how he made him feel, how he disrespected his family. This was revenge for him. And he took it to the next level, to a level that Finney and Bubbly did not prepare for, nor did they think that this guy would go to. Should have, knowing that he was mental. You can't say this man's mental and then not see it for what it is. But there's no one to blame here. It's not a blame game. It's a situation that happened, and now where do we go on from here? Well, I'm going to tell you where we go on from here. We go to the court phase. Due process. This man does deserve due process. Whether he did it on camera, execution style, and everyone's seen it, that does not matter. In the state of Nevada, in any state, you have due process, meaning the district attorney is going to build his case and the defense lawyer is going to build his. Of course, Manny has already pleaded that he not guilty by reason of he was just defending himself, self-defense, right? This was not a self-defense case. This was a case of confusion and a case of clownish activities. This was a man that let his pride and his ego get in the way, and unfortunately made some very bad decisions that cost two people their lives and cost his family a life without him, because he's still living. So does he deserve to live is the question after what he did. Some people believe no. Some people believe it's justifiable to charge him with the death penalty, that he needs to pay ultimately with his life, the ultimate sacrifice for what he did. And some people like myself believe it's worse doing time than giving the lethal injection. That's the truth. I've seen people on death, that were on death row. They got their case got overturned. They were so happy to get fresh air, but they did not realize that that was just a small amount of fresh air. That was it. What they seen in front of them, what they could touch and feel is all they had. Now, to some people, any life is better than no life. But I'm going to tell you, life while incarcerated, it becomes redundant. It becomes old. It comes to a point where it could drive a man mad. Now, being that Manny already has mental issues. He already has issues. He likes the limelight. And he might be getting a little bit of the limelight when he gets to jail. Oh, man, you're the one that did that shit. Ooh, wee. You know what I mean? But that's going to die out eventually. What goes up must come down, right? And then it's going to be a lot of loneliness. It's going to be a lot of a situation where he always has to look over his shoulder because, Finney does have family. He does have people that support him. And he has to worry about, hey, if they ever come across him, what's going to happen? Some people don't give a shit. Most people do. Now, as far as him being charged with the death penalty, that's totally up to the judge and the district attorney. If the district attorney wants to file the correct paperwork and justify and make it happen. Do I think that's what's going to happen? I do. I honestly do. I think because the case is so big and because so many eyes are focused on it, I think they're going to make an example. They're going to lay a demo down. They're going to show people in the state of Nevada, you can't just go kill regular or innocent people in front of a whole bunch. There was kids crying. There was a baby crying. There was people running for their lives. There's people that are going to be forever tainted by this situation. People that were right there, that got blood splatter on them. People that seen what happened. Children were out there, which of course, I don't know why you have your children on the strip, but hey, every parent does his parenting their way, right? But they had kids and this affects people's lives. They'll never be able to get over it. People get PTSD. This guy not only has two victims, he has a lot of victims. Everybody was victimized by this. You have YouTube content creators apologizing to other YouTube content creators now because they realize how serious shit can get. You know, I seen one, he's a content creator that I've actually had beef with in the past, man. I used to call Man Bun, but I seen him do a video where he's like, man, anyone I've ever had problems with, I apologize. Then at the same time, he says, but I'm going to stand on constructive criticism. And it's just a fucking big word to say I'm still going to talk shit. But it did literally get him to the point of apologizing to people, you know? I guess we're going to have to wait and see. I'm going to be keeping you updated on the phase, every court phase of this situation, because I believe it needs to be looked at. And I don't believe people need to jump the gun and ridicule and downplay Manny. I think Manny had issues, man. And I'm a firm believer in people that have mental health. They need to be worked with, not worked against. You know, you don't need to talk shit about them or disrespect them. Yes, he did do something. And yes, two people did pay the unnecessary price, you know, but no one was innocent here. Not one hand was innocent here. Everybody said something at some point in time and people snap and you get to a breaking point and it is what it is. So now the breaking point has got to this. Will he be charged with the death penalty? I believe he will be, but I don't ultimately think it's going to go all the way to trial that far. I think more than likely he will take a deal. It's in his best interest and he will die slowly by days, years, and months. And, you know, to a family that's grieving and to a family that wants justice for their loved ones, you have to look within inside yourself and think, once he's gone, he's gone. You don't have to look at him anymore. The memories are gone. You only have the good memories with your family. You got your justice. You feel justified. They're gone. He's gone. But who wins, really? Now it's 3 people gone off Earth. You know, Earth needs everyone we got because everybody plays their role. Everybody's a participant here. It's a blessing to be born into this world. What you do with it is up to you. Now, of course, Finney made some bad decisions. He's no longer here. Bubbly, you know, was a victim of circumstances, I believe. But she did, you know, involve herself in some of the altercations for whatever reason, right? And then Manny, of course, felt a certain type of way. And he did this. Not justifying nothing for him, but I truly believe, you know, that he probably will be charged with 2 counts and it will go to the death penalty. It's just a bad situation all the way around. And I can't seem to get over the fact that someone would have that much pride to really go do this. Like, look, man, I come from a gang lifestyle. I come from if you talk shit, you can catch one. You know, you got all these youngsters running around, these active gang members running around talking about, man, hey, upping the pole and the demon time and anyone can get it and pull up and drop the addy and this and that and this and that, right? But now you see from Manny, he went through all that. He went through the figuring out where they were at to actually doing the deed, right? To have enough heart to do that is crazy, or to have no heart at all to do that, right, is crazy. And then you see him in court and he looks like a shadow of himself. He looks like a shell. Real life and reality is starting to hit. You don't look cool. You did it all to look cool. Because at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. That's why a lot of people get in trouble. They can't tell their homeboys no. They want to look cool. They want to earn their stripes. They want to be a gangster. Everybody want to be a gangster and all that shit, right? And then when it comes crunch time, when it comes time to be a gangster, yeah, you might be the one to do that, but there's a repercussion for every action. Manny's going to face those repercussions. We'll see what happens. Again, I don't know the criteria, like I said, in Nevada for the death penalty, if this meets the standard, if this meets that criteria, but 2 people lost their lives, open murder case. It was pretty tragic, pretty devastating. And I'm sure there's going to be, there was a lot of witnesses. This trial will be a very expensive trial. Again, that right there can make the district attorney and the judge say, maybe not so much death penalty because it costs so much to do that. And you got to understand how many witnesses would be involved and how many. The best thing for the district attorney to do is to try to convince this man to take a deal that will put him in prison for the rest of his life so they can get a notch on their belt. Justice can be served and Manny can get up out the way and sit down for what he did, because he definitely needs to sit down. I don't wish death nor jail upon anyone, but in this case, this man went a little too far. He let social media dictate his program. He has no one but to blame than himself. If he does get the death penalty, this is the one time I'll say, Oops. Should have thought about that. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I truly believe in. And that's the betterment of all people, man. I appreciate the support. Stay posted.